Before we get to actually shooting the XDm 10 5.25, let me talk about the safeties that are incorporated into the XDm. First, there is the trigger lever that, if not fully pressed inward, will prevent the trigger from moving into the frame. The second safety is the grip safety, which, if not fully pressed inward, will prevent the gun from firing. The grip safety must also be pressed to move the slide to the rear, whether the pistol is empty or a round chambered. A third safety is the chamber loaded indicator on top of the slide. This tactile and visual indicator shows the operator that a round is chambered. Another safety is the striker condition indicator at the rear of the slide. If the indicator is not visible from its little hidey hole, the pistol is not cocked. When the striker is cocked, the indicator is fully visible and tactile. Of course, there is the usual trigger bar safety. The trigger bar has two functions. One, the trigger bar releases the firing pin by pushing down the sear. And two, it simultaneously lifts the internal firing pin safety block out of the firing pin's way so that the firing pin can move freely to the primer. So now that the safeties have all been addressed, let's move on to actually shooting this thing. I was excited about shooting this new caliber and pistol. New to me anyway. Even though I was familiar with the 9mm and 45 ACP versions of the XDm, 10mm was a different round, but in a similar pistol. While I would fall far short of running 10,000 rounds through this pistol, I felt that a box of Cellier and Belo 180 grain FMJ with a muzzle velocity of 1164 feet per second and a muzzle energy of 543 foot-pounds, and a box of 6-hour V-Crown 180 grain JHP that has a muzzle velocity of 1250 feet per second with a muzzle energy of 624 foot-pounds would tell me how the story would go after the first range outing. Accuracy is first and foremost, second only to dependability. And of course, accuracy and dependability cannot be determined by a first outing, as it may take several outings with different kinds of ammunition before the best for the pistol is to be determined. The ammunition that I had with me would be a good indicator. The recoil is, obviously, more pronounced than a 9mm and a 40 Smith & Wesson. The sharp impulse of the recoil tells you that you are not firing a 45 ACP cartridge. That is more of a shove and less pronounced, but not by much. The recoil, however, is very close to the 45 ACP, is very manageable, and just takes some getting used to. Accuracy is no problem if the operator does their part. The sights just seem to fall into place naturally. However, while the red fiber front sight is bright in normal room lighting and outside, the overhead range lighting was not enough to bring out its brilliance. There is a good gap between the front and rear sights, enough to obtain a good sight picture, even without the front sight fiber illuminating, and that's the way the pistol was shot. The rest is just keeping them where they should be throughout the trigger pull. The sole purpose of the trigger in the XDm is to release the striker, and it does a good job doing just that. The rear sight needed no adjustment, and it seemed that the pistol was already set up for 180 grain cartridges in elevation. Put the barrel on what you want to hit, the front sight just above it, roll back the trigger while keeping that sight picture, and the pistol does the rest. As mentioned previously, the Springfield Armory XDm 5.25 and 10mm auto has some muzzle flip due to the high bore axes, and enough recoil to let you know that you're not firing a wimp cartridge. The slide comes back with authority, and the recoil impacted me in the thumb web of the shooting hand. Getting back on target is no worse than when I shoot a full-size, full-weight government-made 1911 pistol in 45 ACP chambering. If you expect a 10mm pistol to act like a 9mm pistol, and you want or need to do a magazine dump, you may be disappointed. Recovery time, the time to get back on target, is about the same for me when shooting a 1911. The Springfield XDm 5.25 has great ergonomics, that helped that happen. The polymer wide grip frame helps to distribute the recoil. As expected, Springfield Armory XDm 5.25 and 10mm performed without issue. It is almost boringly predictable in its functioning. The Mega Lock grip texturing I found to be ideal. It keeps the hand in place while not aggravating the hand, although I did wear the texture a bit on the hand after the session was over. I did not have to reposition my grip after firing each round. I just had to bring the muzzle back in line. I was firing 5-round strings just as fast as I can with my 1911 45 ACP chambering. With full power hunting loads, however, I probably would not be saying the same. Then again, I hope that I don't need to shoot 5 or more rounds in rapid succession. But when being attacked by a very angry 2- or 4-legged animal, you're going to be doing the best you can to pump as many rounds in that beast as possible, and you will have 15+1 opportunities to do so. The grip adapter that came installed on the pistol, which is the small adapter, seemed to be the right size for me, and having a grip that fits your hand is a big plus. Shooting the Springfield Armory XDm 10 5.25 with the selected loadings was a very pleasant experience, and its bark may bring some curiosity and comments from fellow shooters. I walked away from the range with a good taste in my mouth about the Springfield Armory XDm 10mm auto in 5.25 and the 10mm cartridge in general. Or it could have just been all the lead and smoke in the air.